Hey guys, tonight, we're going somewhere quiet. Somewhere no one lives anymore. Or maybe no one ever did. It starts with a house. Of course it does. They always do. The kind that shows up when you're tired and scrolling late long past the point of logic when your filters are off and your gut is louder than your brain. It wasn't even on a real site. Not Zillow. Not Craigslist. It looked like a pop-up, but not the spammy kind. Just odd. Minimal. Like it had been coded in a different decade. No contact number, no agent name. Just 5 pictures. The house looked like it had been plucked from a painting. White plaster, soft green shutters, sea in the background, a porch swing barely moving. The caption read, "Rural, quiet, long-term only. Perfect memory keeper." That's it. The price, unreal. A quarter of what you're paying now. You try to trace the listing. Nothing. The site refreshes, and the listing's gone. But when you check your email the next morning, there's a subject line waiting. Your keys have been mailed. No return address, just the coordinates. Not an address, coordinates. And attached, a short PDF contract, already signed by you. You should have stopped there. You know that now, but instead you laugh. Maybe even say aloud, "If this is a scam, it's the weirdest one I've ever seen." A week later, a package arrives. Inside, a single iron key, wrapped in wax paper, and an old Polaroid of the house. Same angle as the photos from the site. Only now there's something different. There's someone on the porch swing, not looking at the camera, just sitting, relaxed, and blurry. The kind of blur that doesn't come from motion. The kind that comes from absence. You pack anyway. It's not like you have much to lose. You've been looking for a break. A reset. Something far enough from the city to breathe. A place where your phone doesn't ping every 4 minutes. You follow the GPS as far as it'll take you. Then the map freezes. You switch to satellite view. It's just green, like the map doesn't know what's supposed to be here. But the road keeps going. So do you. Eventually you find it, nestled between 2 hills, the ocean glinting in the distance, just like the photos. Except there's no mailbox, no number on the house, just a black iron keyhole in a white door. The key fits perfectly. Of course it does. The house smells like old linen and warm cedar. There's a loaf of bread on the counter, still soft. A kettle cooling on the stove. You don't question it. You just unpack. You sleep like you haven't in weeks. The bed is already made. Someone folded the sheets the way your grandmother used to. You should ask questions. You don't. Because deep down you're tired of answers. And something about this place feels like a memory you haven't had yet. The next day you head into the village. It's about a 20-minute drive, winding and narrow. You ask the clerk at the general store if they deliver out to the old White House near the cliffs. She frowns. You mean where the Owens place used to be? You pause. Maybe. She tilts her head. Burned down. 10, 12 years back. No one rebuilt. Place went cold. You tell her you've been staying there. She doesn't laugh. Doesn't blink. Just steps back. A beat too long. Then protects a polite smile. "Let me know if you need anything." She won't make eye contact again. You leave quickly. Back in your car, you check your phone. No signal. The GPS app still shows you floating over blankness. No road. No address. Just green. Historians still argue whether unlisted properties in medieval England were a bureaucratic oversight or deliberate omissions. Houses deliberately unmapped by the crown to hide families' failures. Or worse. The practice was called struck hold, meaning held, but struck from record. Some believe these homes absorbed the people who entered them. You go home. Home. It feels strange calling it that. But the kettle whistles when you step inside. And your coat is all ready, hung up, even though you forgot doing it, even though you could swear you didn't. You tell yourself it's fine, just nerves, just a long drive and a weird town. You sit on the porch swing, and in the corner of your eye, you see yourself. In the reflection of the glass door, only you're already sitting there, swinging, smiling, before you ever sat down. You don't panic, not at first. You stare. The reflection stares back. But the swing under you, it's not moving. You feel the wood beneath your hands, still, but the glass door shows otherwise. Back and forth, back and forth. Your reflection sways with the calm rhythm of someone at peace. Only, you're not swaying. You step away from the door. The image flickers. Now it matches your movements again. Okay. Weird lighting. Double pane glass. Something logical. You try to shake it off. Go back inside. The house feels too quiet now. Not empty quiet. Like someone just left the room and took all their noise with them. You open a few cabinets to distract yourself. Inside dishes, polished, lined up like someone cared. Mugs, bowls, all a little mismatched like they were gathered over time. You reach for a plate, and that's when you see it. Carved into the inside lip just under the glaze a name. M. Hayward. You pull out another. E. Garrison. Another. C. Leach. Every dish cup spoon labeled. None of the names are yours. None of them feel recent. There's something eerie about how they've been used, though. The spoons are worn. The mugs faintly tea-stained. Someone lived here. Lots of someones. You explore further, not out of curiosity, more like instinct. The house layout is simple. A narrow hallway. 3 bedrooms. 1 bathroom. Except when you step into the hall again. There are 4 doors now. You blink. No, there were 3. You know there were 3. But now on the left, where there was just a framed painting of reeds and water, there's another door. Plain, unpainted, closed. You walk toward it slowly, waiting for it to vanish again. It doesn't. You touch the knob. Cold. You try it. Locked. You check your key. It's still the one from the envelope. Wrought iron. Heavy. You try it anyway. It doesn't fit. Still locked. Still real. You back away. The light in the hallway flickers, not electric, just daylight doing something strange. Like the shadows aren't sure what direction to fall. That night you try to sleep. You turn off all the lights, but the hallway stays softly lit. You throw a towel under your door to block it. It doesn't help. You turn toward the wall and hear the porch swing creak, just once, then silence. The next morning you walk into town again. Try to ask someone, anyone about the house, but every time you open your mouth, you hesitate. You don't want to sound like you've gone off the rails. You don't want them to look at you like the clerk did. So you don't mention the house at all. You just grab some groceries, make idle conversation. When you get back, the 4th door is open. Just a crack. Inside you see nothing. Just a narrow hallway. One you're almost sure couldn't possibly fit inside the house's footprint. You lean in. The air is cool, like a root cellar, like something not meant for sunlight. You don't go in, but you don't close the door either. Something in you feels like it would just open again. You go to make tea. The mug you choose has a new name, J. Mercer. It wasn't there yesterday. You're sure of it. But there it is now. Pale blue ceramic. Still warm, like someone just rinsed it out. In some medieval towns, rooms were taxed individually, so people built hunger doors. Hidden rooms or passageways with no exterior sign used to store things the tax collector couldn't find. Over time, stories grew that these rooms didn't just store food. but memories, identities, even people. Historians disagree on whether they were real. That night the door is shut again, but now your bedroom window won't open. You hadn't noticed before. It doesn't have a latch. Just smooth wood where the mechanism should be. No hinges. You tap the glass. It doesn't feel like glass. More like stone pretending to be glass. You try to sleep. The porch swing creaks again. Twice. You don't get up. You tell yourself you'll leave in the morning. You'll pack up, drive to town, and ask someone what this place is. But you already know you won't, because something in you has already changed. The longer you stay, the harder it is to imagine being anywhere else. The bed's too soft, the air too clean, and your name is starting to feel unfamiliar, like something you used to wear, like something that doesn't quite fit anymore. You don't check your ID the next morning. You should, but part of you is afraid it might say something else, or nothing at all. Instead, you make tea. The kettle is already hot when you enter the kitchen. Steam drifts gently from the spout, as if you'd just missed someone pouring their cup. You pick up a mug carefully now. The name etched into the base is Marsh, not yours, not familiar. You put it down, pick another, T. Elwyn, then another. No duplicates. Dozens of mugs in the cabinet now, maybe more than yesterday. You only brought 2 with you. You sip from one that isn't labeled. It's the last one in the row, the only one without a name. It tastes like your usual tea, but something in the warmth coats your tongue in a way that feels too permanent. Later that afternoon, you sit at the kitchen table with a notebook. You write your name, just to make sure. You write it again, and again, and again. The letters begin to look strange, off-balanced, lopsided, like a child trying to forge something they were never meant to own. You close the notebook. Your phone still doesn't work. You plug it in and it charges. It turns on. But there's no signal, no Wi-Fi, no history. Just the default screen like a factory reset. And no photos. Not one. Even though you remember taking them. You try the camera. You take a picture of your face. But when you open the file, it's black. Just black. Not blurry. Not overexposed. Just gone. You walk outside. The air smells like salt and stone. Like wind passing through abandoned places. You glance at the mailbox again out of habit. It's still not there, but something flaps beneath the doormat. You lift it, a small folded envelope. Inside, a single photograph. A family early 20th century judging by the clothes. A man, a woman. 2 children. They're standing in front of this house. You know it's this house, even though it looks newer. Somehow fresh paint, straighter lines. The children are holding a sign. The last home. You flip the photo over, handwritten on the back. Return before naming. What does that mean? You read it again. Return before naming. You look at the people in the photo. Their faces are too smooth. Not blurry, but too symmetrical. Almost like placeholders. Almost like masks. Inside the house, the hallway is longer. It was maybe 10 feet when you moved in. Now it turns. Gently, but definitely. And there are 6 doors. One of them is your room. One is the bathroom. The rest, you're not sure anymore. The locked one is still shut. You haven't tried it again. The 4th door. The one that leads to that cold, narrow passage is ajar. You didn't open it. You would have remembered. You tell yourself is a draft. Humidity. Old hinges. But you feel watched as you stand there. Not by a person. By the house, like it's waiting for you to decide, like it doesn't want to be obvious, just patient. Historians studying early British manor homes uncovered what they called identity chambers, sealed rooms with mirrors, guest books, and even spare clothing. These were meant to preserve the presence of former owners, or prepare future ones. Debate continues on whether they were ritualistic or simply morbid trophies. That night you dream of knocking, not of being knocked upon. You are the knocker, hand pressed to old wood, trying to get in. The dream feels recursive looping. When you wake, you're not in your bed. You're standing in the hallway, facing the locked door, hand outstretched, fingertips just barely touching the cold metal knob. There's no light, but you can see a soft illumination that comes from nowhere. Same as before. You slowly pull your hand back. Go to your room. Your notebook is on the floor. Open. The page you wrote your name on is blank. Just faint impressions where the pen once scratched. You flip forward. The next page is filled. Your name, written over and over again. But in handwriting that's Dieter, not yours, not even close. Below the list, a single line. Soon this will not matter. You sit on the bed, and the mattress sighs, like something deep beneath it just shifted to make room. You don't leave the house the next morning. You think about it. You even get dressed, pack a small bag, put your hand on the knob of the front door, but something stops you. Not fear. Not really. It's more like inertia. Like the house is holding your momentum in place. The air presses softly against your skin, like wool soaked in warm water. You tell yourself just 5 more minutes. Maybe make coffee first. Maybe double-check your ID. You reach for your wallet, but it's not on the counter where you left it. You search the drawers, your pockets. You check the jacket hanging by the door. Nothing. Eventually, you find it under the couch cushion. You never put it there. When you open it, your ID is still inside. Still your face. But your name, blurry. Just a smudge now. The first letter is legible. A. Everything else, gray static, like it's been half erased. You try to laugh, but it sounds thin, like it doesn't belong to you. That night you walk the hall. You don't mean to, but your legs carry you there. The light has changed again, soft green, like old aquarium glass. The fourth door, the one with the narrow hallway, is open again. This time wider. You can see that the passage now turns sharply left. You step inside. Each footstep The walls seem closer than they should be. You reach the turn, and there's a mirror. Tall, thin, no frame, just embedded into the end wall. You approach slowly. The mirror doesn't show the hallway behind you, just static, like an unplugged television. But your reflection, it's fine, at first. Then it smiles, a moment before you do. Not exaggerated, just early, like it got the rhythm wrong. You don't smile back. But it continues. You blink. It doesn't. Then the mirror begins to fog. From the inside, letters begin to appear in the condensation. Your name. But the last 3 letters are wrong. Not a typo, just not yours. You reach out to touch it, and the glass is warm. Too warm. Like skin. You pull away fast. The condensation vanishes instantly, and the hallway goes dark. You turn, try to walk back the way you came, but the hallway has grown. It takes longer than it should. The house feels folded, like it's been rearranged in your absence. When you finally reach your bedroom, you stop, because the bed is made. Sheets perfect, pillow untouched, like no one ever slept there, like you never left that hallway, like you never existed here at all. There's a scraping noise above you. You hadn't noticed it before. You tip your head back. There's a hatch in the ceiling now. Attic. You're not sure it was ever there before. It has no handle, but something tells you it's unlocked. And something else tells you not yet. You lie down, even though the bed is no longer warm, even though the pillow smells faintly of cloves and dust. You close your eyes and hear the porch swing creak just once. Then the faintest whisper, your name, spoken slowly, lovingly, but again, just slightly wrong. The syllables are too soft, the cadence off, as if whoever's saying it is reading it aloud. For the first time, historians still debate the nature of eco homes buildings rumored to mimic the personalities of their occupants, or perhaps mold their personalities in return. Most accounts describe soft shifts, forgotten dreams, rearranged memories, altered handwriting. Rarely do residents leave. When they do, their family seldom recognizes them. You wake in the morning and check the mirror in the bathroom. Your face looks mostly right, but the mole on your cheek wasn't there yesterday. You lean in. Try to remember if it was always there. The skin feels real. You search your phone's camera again. Still black images. You try writing your name, but your hand hesitates. You forget the second letter. You forget how your own signature ends. You flip back through the notebook. The names listed there aren't yours anymore. They're variations, a dozen of them. Ansel, Antin, Arden. Some start with A, some don't. One name appears again and again. Marrow. You close the book and whisper aloud to the empty room. Is that me? No answer. Just the creak of the porch swing. Twice. And then the kettle clicks on by itself. You don't touch the notebook again. It's still on the nightstand, of course. Still exactly where you left it. But now it hums at the edge of your vision. You swear it's thicker than before, like the pages are multiplying while you sleep. Instead, you pour yourself teabath. You don't remember boiling the water. The mug you choose today is deep green, chipped at the rim. It says nothing on the outside, but when you lift it, 3 neat initials are pressed into the base. MRW. You don't know anyone with those initials. You hold it too long. The warmth feels familiar, not in a comforting way, more like muscle memory, as if your hand remembers this cup from a life you haven't had yet. You go for a walk. The front door opens easily now, like the house has decided you can leave. The wind tastes briny and distant. You follow the same path back into town, hoping to see faces, hear noise, feel real. You pass the general store. The woman from before is sweeping the stoop. She doesn't greet you, but she watches. You nod politely. She says nothing. Her broom strokes stop when you pass and start again when you're out of earshot, like she's waiting to be sure you're not coming back. You stop at the cafe across from the post office, sit on the patio, order coffee, something normal. The waitress brings it along with a paper receipt. You glance at it. The order is right. The name printed at the top, Marrow. You didn't give them a name. You're sure of it. You didn't say a word. You ask the waitress about it. She squints. That's what it says, isn't it? You smile awkwardly. Weird name. She shrugs. People from that house always have odd ones. She walks off. You don't call her back. You don't finish your coffee. You don't take the receipt. But it appears on your nightstand that night. Perfectly dry, perfectly flat, resting beside the notebook. That evening, the mirror in the end hall is fogged before you even reach it. Words are already written there. You're almost ready. You don't write back. You don't speak aloud. But something inside you thinks for what? The fog slides slowly down the glass, revealing your reflection. But it's not dressed like you. The shirt is older, earthier, a rough spun tunic, and the eyes, a darker shade than yours. They smile anyway. You leave the hallway, turn off every light in the house, but the hallway glows all night. Historians debate the symbolism of names in folk rituals. Some say knowing a spirit's true name gives you power over it. Others argue the opposite, that giving your name to something lets it enter you, hollow you out, wear you like clothing. The house you suspect believes the latter. You find a trunk the next day. At first it wasn't there. Now it sits at the foot of your bed. You didn't bring it in. It's not dusty. You unlatch it. Inside clothes. Not yours. Not new. They're sized for you. Folded crisply. A linen shirt. Woolen trousers. A coat with brass buttons that look hand-forged. And tucked into the corner a key, smaller than the one you used to enter the house. This one is copper. Bent slightly. You recognize it. It fits the attic hatch. You know it before you even try. You carry it with you for the rest of the day, not in your pocket, in your hand, like a promise or a countdown. At dusk, you try the hatch. It creaks open without resistance. A ladder unfolds itself. You climb. The attic is colder than the rest of the house, and darker, but still visible. It smells like time and parchment. The ceiling is low, the beams old, but the space is organized. Too organized. Shelves line the walls, each cubby labeled with a name, all written in the same hand. E. Garrison, C. Leach, J. Mercer, MRW. And there at the end, Marrow, empty, waiting. A perfect square, dustless. You kneel there. Without thinking, you whisper your old name. It doesn't echo. The house doesn't respond. But something inside you tightens, as if part of you just pulled away. Shed, like skin. That night you sleep without dreaming. Or if you do, the dreams do not belong to you. You wake with the weight of a memory that isn't yours, pressing against the roof of your mouth, like something soft and damp, left there in the dark. Your reflection in the bathroom mirror is wrong again. Not entirely, but the cheekbones are sharper. The eyes brighter, duller. It's hard to say. What you know is this. That face is more comfortable than it should be. You lean close. You whisper your old name. Nothing. You whisper Marrow. The mirror fogs slightly. Just enough to hint at a smile forming before your lips even move. You step back. The toothbrush is already damp, and you haven't used it yet. That morning you open the fourth door again. The hallway feels deeper, but brighter somehow, as if it's pleased, as if it's been waiting for you to stop resisting. You walk to the mirror at the end. The static has cleared. Your reflection waits. It is you. It smiles at the same time. But you still feel the difference. Your reflection mouths something, but you don't hear it. You mouth it back uncertain. Ready. The reflection nods. The hallway light flares gold and warm, and the reflection steps forward, not out of the glass. Just closer, just enough that your own face begins to blur, as if you're behind it now, watching yourself from the wrong side. You stumble back. Your heel taps something on the ground. You look down. The copper key. You didn't bring it with you, but it's here again. It always finds you. You climb to the attic once more. There's something different this time. A faint humming, not mechanical, musical. A lullaby maybe, played slowly on some ancient string. You reach the cubby marked Marrow. Still empty, still waiting. This time you open your mouth. You speak aloud. I am Marrow. Nothing happens. And then, the attic lights flicker. The names on the other cubbies begin to glow faintly, one by one. You run your hand across them, each warm, each pulsing faintly beneath your fingers, like shallow heartbeats. You feel dizzy. You sit, and the humming continues, now with a voice humming along. Yours, only deeper, only slower. Like something remembered long after it should have been forgotten. Historians studying memory architecture suggest some pre-modern buildings were built as retainers of self-places meant to hold names, emotions, or even individual identities across generations. The idea wasn't metaphorical. The theory held that bricks remembered, that wood absorbed, that names lasted longer than bodies. You descend the ladder quietly. The house feels taller now, like it grew in your absence. The hallway has 7 doors. You test them. One opens onto your bedroom, one onto the bath, one onto the kitchen, but the rest all lead to identical versions of the 4th hallway. each with a mirror, each with a reflection, each slightly off. In one, your reflection is barefoot. In another, your hair is parted differently. In another, the eyes are wrong. You don't enter any of them. You shut each door gently. And as you do, you hear whispers behind the mirrors, not in words, in tones, murmurs of approval or hunger. You can't tell which. You go to the porch swing. It's moving, not wildly, just rocking softly like someone just stood up from it. There's a cup resting on the arm. It's filled with tea, still steaming. You pick it up. Your hands don't shake. On the bottom, there's a name etched in precise brown ink. Yours. You drink it anyway. It tastes like thyme and salt, and something a little like sorrow. But it goes down smooth. And for the first time in days, the porch swing creaks 3 times, like a lullaby coming to an end. The next morning, you forget to check the mirror. Not by accident, more like your body's just done expecting anything normal from it. Instead, you brush your teeth without looking up, rinse your face with cool water. And that's when you notice something written on the inside of the bathroom cabinet door. You've opened this cabinet dozens of times. You're sure this wasn't there. It's carved into the wood, shallow, careful. When you know your name, the house opens. You touch it. The grooves are real, fresh, no dust. You close the door gently, like you're afraid the mirror above it might see you noticing. You try leaving again. Grab your coat, your bag. You even lock the front door behind you. The key clicks home with satisfying finality. You walk fast this time, past the shops, past the bakery, past the blinking stoplight, where no cars ever seem to come. You pass the edge of town. You walk for an hour, then 2. Then you're back, standing on the porch, tea still warm in your hand. You drop the mug. It doesn't break, just rolls softly against the doorframe and rests there. The porch swing rocks, once, like a sigh. You sit in the kitchen. The fridge hums contentedly. You open it. Inside nothing, not empty nothing, just hollow space. No shelves. No light, no sound. You close it again, not surprised. You go to the attic. You don't hesitate this time. The ladder knows your weight now. It lowers without creak or complaint. When you reach the top, you find a new cubby next to Marrow. It's labeled, "The One Who Remembered." Inside a folded slip of paper, you unfold it carefully. No ink, no handwriting, just your reflection, pressed into the paper like a photographic plate. You see yourself smiling, not a wide grin, just a soft, tired smile. The kind you'd give someone you've missed for a very long time. And at the bottom of the print, embossed in tiny type, "Return complete." You descend slowly. The hallway is longer again, but you don't mind. You count the doors now as you pass. 8, 9, 10, each with a mirror, each with a different version of you behind it. One hums, one weeps, one doesn't blink. The last one just stands still, waiting. When you stop in front of that final mirror, your reflection steps forward. You don't. Your hand lifts on its own. You press your palm to the glass. The other you does the same. Warm, soft, not cold like before. And for a second, you forget which side you're on. Historians once wrote of threshold rituals. Acts meant to soften the boundary between here and elsewhere. A true name was often exchanged. A mirror touched. A cup shared. These acts were not symbolic. They were agreements. You've signed one now without pen or paper. That night the wind is silent. No porch creaks, no kettle whistles. Just a kind of settled quiet. The kind that means something has moved in, or something has finished leaving. You sleep soundly, and when you wake, the house has changed. But you don't check it. You just sit on the edge of your bed, breathe in the warm, thyme-laced air, and begin humming. A tune you've never heard. A lullaby that still tastes faintly of tea. You don't remember the words, but your mouth moves like it does. And in the hallway outside your door, the mirrors begin to fog. One by one, you hum all morning. The melody follows you from room to room, like it's lodged in the rafters, humming back in soft harmonies. You don't remember where you learned it, but your breath knows where to go. Your throat doesn't hesitate. You're not surprised to find the 11th door waiting at the end of the hallway. It's open, no draft, no chill, just an invitation. You step through without shoes. The wood beneath your feet is warm, too warm and smooth, like river-polished stone. The room is round. There were no round rooms in the floor plan. You remember the layout vaguely. It was narrow, crooked, boxy. But this is perfect. A circle within a circle, floors like soft varnish walls without seams. There's a desk in the middle made of something that resembles wood, but not quite. On the desk is a mirror, and beside the mirror a quill. It's not a writing desk. There's no ink, no parchment, just the mirror, and your name etched faintly into the glass, or what you think is your name. But the letters keep shifting. Sometimes you see your old name, sometimes Marrow, sometimes nothing at all. You reach out. The glass is no longer warm. It's pulsing, like breath. In, out, in, out. You lower your hand, and the reflection shifts. Not you, not anymore. Something wearing your face, but too perfect, too clean. Like a model of who you thought you were before the forgetting started. The face mouths a word. Stay! You sit in the chair. It fits you, like it was built for you. You watch yourself in the mirror. The light in the room doesn't come from anywhere obvious, but it catches in your hair just right. Makes you look sculpted wholly. Your reflection smiles, hands folded, waiting. You try not to blink first. You fail. The hallway is longer when you return. The doors are closer together now, packed tight like teeth in an old mouth. You stop at the 7th. It's open. The room inside is filled with framed photographs. All of you, decades apart. Some black and white, some sepia-toned. One in soft pastel chalk. Each smile is different, each outfit wrong for the era. You find one that looks like a Victorian schoolteacher's portrait, except the face is modern. Yours. You turn away before you find more. Historians rarely agree on the function of name vaults, hidden rooms, rumored to store the essence of one's identity across timelines or lifetimes. Were they prisons for memory or archives for future selves? The answer, some say, depends on whether you entered the vault willingly. That evening the air is still. No fog, no sea wind, just dusk, slow and amber. You don't light a candle, but one appears beside your bed. Already burning. The flame is steady. You don't question it. Instead, you sit by the window. You write your name in the condensation. This time it stays. You whisper it aloud. You feel the house take a breath. A soft shift. A hush of floorboards adjusting. The attic hatch opens on its own. You don't climb up this time. Instead, you go to the kitchen. The tea is already steeped. The cup is already poured. No label on the bottom. Just a soft indentation of a thumb. Yours. You drink. And feel something behind your eyes relax, like the forgetting has finally decided it's finished. But the remembering, that's just beginning. You don't dream. You float. Through corridors that bend sideways. Through stairwells that lead into the sea. Through doors that open onto endless meadows with stars for grass. When you wake, the house has rearranged itself again. You stand in the doorway to your bedroom and realize there is no hallway anymore. Just a single wall of mirrors. No doors, no handles, just you and your reflections, each one lit differently, each one wearing a different life. Some are dressed in woolen robes, some in crisp, modern shirts, and when one, something that looks carved out of bark. You stare into one of them. It blinks. You don't. Another one yawn. You don't feel tired. You step back, and they all step forward. Perfect synchrony. All but one. The last one on the right. It waits. Still. Not breathing. Not blinking. Not moving. You walk toward it, and see that it isn't a reflection at all. It's a window. A tall, thin pane of glass framed like the others. But behind it a staircase, spiraling downward, lit only by flickering golden sconces that throw shadows in soft circular motions. The stairs are made of stone, worn in the middle, used often, too often. You touch the glass. It's cold. This time the word written in fog isn't stay, it's home. You step through. There's no sensation, no breeze, no change in temperature. Just descent. The stone spiral leads you down into a chamber, round like the room above, but older. Dustier. There's a table in the middle. Upon it a book, bound in leather, clasped shut with bronze. Your hand fits perfectly over the cover. You unlatch it. Inside are pages of names, each written with different hands, different inks, some crossed out, some underlined, some bleeding into the parchment as if still wet. Near the center, your old name. Next to it, a line drawn through, and beside that in red, Marrow accepted. Below that, recorded, stabilized, and finally scrawled almost playfully, awake. You close the book. It doesn't feel like closure. It feels like invitation. Historians have often theorized about identity migration rituals, where one could discard or adopt names as one might change clothing. Some believe a name in Haman isn't something you're given, but something you grow into, or out of. What happens when the name keeps growing? But the person doesn't. You leave the chamber. You don't return up the staircase. Instead, there's a narrow passage one you didn't see before. It winds through stone and plaster, and something else. Something that hums gently as you walk. You pass portraits, hundreds of them, each one familiar, each one wearing a face you almost recognize. Some smile, some frown. One is looking directly at you. You stop, because it's the man from the mirror, not your reflection. Him, the one who smiled too early. He's seated in the portrait, one hand holding a quill, the other resting on a closed book. The background is soft blue, the frame shell gold, and at the bottom etched into a gilded plaque, the final witness. You don't know what it means, but your legs are trembling. And when you look again, the eyes in the painting are gone, hollowed out. Two soft voids where color used to be. You walk faster now. The corridor winds on tighter, narrower, until the stone gives way to wood. Warm, slightly curved like the inside of a tree trunk hollowed out just for you. The sound changes too. Your steps stop echoing. The air hushes itself. It's not silence. It's listening. And you realize for the first time that you've been narrating in your head for days. Every motion. Free room. But now your thoughts feel borrowed, pre-written, as if the voice in your mind is just reading from a script. You stop walking, and still you hear the next sentence. You place your hand on the wooden archway and lean in, and you do. You weren't going to. You didn't decide to, but you do. And the passage opens like a throat, breathing you in. Inside is a library, but none of the books have titles. They hum, each shelf lined with volumes bound in pale leather, all trembling faintly like heartbeats in a row. A ladder waits in the center, iron, rope-bound, sturdy. You climb. It leads nowhere, just higher, through the shelves, through the ceiling, into another room you never saw from outside. You reach the top and pull yourself through, into a room where you are already sitting. Your back is to you. Your hands are folded, and before you a mirror, of course. But this time it's different. This time it doesn't reflect you. It reflects the house, all of it, sprawled out like a blueprint made of light. Dozens, hundreds of rooms, names shifting on each door. Some names you know, some you're afraid to say aloud. But the one glowing brightest, Marrow, not over your head, not over the room you're in, over the entire structure. Like the house itself has taken your name, and you've taken its place. The other you seated silent stands, no face, just a dark oval like an oil painting left unfinished. It nods once, walks past you, and disappears into the ladder shaft. You don't follow. You sit in the chair. Your body recognizes the curve of it, the imprint. Your hands fold without instruction, and the mirror begins to ripple. Softly, it hums. You hum back. Historians often debate the function of anchor rooms in certain folklore traditions. Chambers said to stabilize identity across parallel selves. But what if the anchor isn't the room? What if it's you? What if the house is holding you down, not to protect you, but to keep itself from floating away? You try to stand, but you don't want to. The chair is warm now. The hum is inside you. You open your mouth, and another version of your voice comes out. House secure, name stabilized, rotation complete. You don't understand, but you say it again, and the mirror flares. Just once, like a pulse, like a camera flash through fog. And when your vision clears, you see the front door, closed, locked. From the outside, and through its narrow window you see someone approaching, wearing your old face, carrying a copper key. You don't move. The chair has molded to you. Now, your back, your arms, even the curve of your skull feels gently cupped by the wood, like a hand made for holding. Through the mirror, you see the figure draw closer. They're cautious, clutching the key like it might burn them, like it's heavier than it should be. You remember that feeling, because it was you once, you the person outside. Before the shift, before the mirror, the figure pauses at the front step. They don't knock. They rest their hand on the doorframe like it's familiar, like they've been here before, and they have, because they're next. Downstairs, the tea is already steeping. The house is preparing for the exchange, for the remembering. You don't speak, but you feel your thoughts begin to reach outward, curling through the walls, whispering their way into the baseboards. The way a house learns a voice, how it learns your walk, your hum, the way you close a door without ever latching it all the way. The person on the porch doesn't know this yet, but they will. You close your eyes. For a moment you try to remember your real name, the one from before all of this, but even in your own mind it arrives muffled, like something underwater. Instead, you see marrow carved in every surface of your memory, and it feels true, not forced, not imposed, just old, older than language, older than houses. The mirror grows warm. You open your eyes. There are more rooms now. You see them lighting up door by door towards the mirror, each one receiving, each one adapting, and within each mirror, a figure seated, sometimes weeping, sometimes grinning, sometimes just sitting quietly like you, as if waiting for the last chord of a song that never ends. The front door opens. You don't see it directly, but you feel it, like a shift in barometric pressure. Like a footstep on the floor above your bedroom, the kind that makes your heart pause mid-beat. You hear it, the sigh of the hinges, the careful intake of breath, the quiet thud of a copper key placed on a wooden table. The new resident has entered, and you are now part of the welcome. Historians studying echo houses, structures supposedly alive with recursive memory, often speculate that these buildings are not haunted by ghosts in the traditional sense. Rather, they're haunted by potential. Each tenant becomes a page in the structure's own autobiography, retold again and again, with subtle edits. You rise, not because you want to, but because it is your turn to guide, to mirror, to witness. You descend the ladder. It no longer leads to shelves. Now it opens into a hallway of golden light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat, in rhythm with your steps. You walk past the portraits, now updated. Each bears a different version of your face, but one portrait glows gently from within. A new is still forming, still deciding, still forgetting. The floorboards creak as you reach the kitchen. The new tenant is already seated. Their eyes are wide, the tea untouched, their coat still damp from a fog that doesn't exist outside the house. You nod once. You sit across from them. And for the first time since you arrived, you speak. It gets easier once you stop asking why. The figure blinks. You remember that blink. You remember how heavy it felt in your skull. You lift the copper key from the table, place it beside their cup. They don't reach for it yet, but they will. They always do. You don't wait for questions. You know none will come yet. The tea remains untouched between you, steam curling upward in a slow spiral, as if time itself is winding tighter. The new tenant glances toward the hallway. They don't ask where it leads. Their eyes flicker toward the mirror behind you, the one set inside the hutch above the sink. You speak again, softly. Calm. You'll see it when you're ready. They look at you startled, but you know that look too. They were already thinking the words before you said them. The house has started sinking. You show them to the fourth door. It's there again, fresh and unfamiliar, like it hasn't opened in years, though it never closes for long. The tenant reaches for the handle. Their hand pauses just an inch away. You smile. You remember that pause. That single second when part of you hoped it wouldn't move. That it was all a trick door, a dream, a story whispered by floorboards too old to lie. But it opens. It always does. And the hallway is waiting, just like it was for you. This version of the hallway is different. Longer. Darker. The walls feel damp, like the breath of a place that remembers being buried. The mirrors reflect shapes behind the tenant. Not you, not yet, but things close to you. Memories in the wrong clothes. Laughter that isn't recent. Hands that feel too familiar. You don't follow them in. You stand at the threshold and whisper, "Don't run." They flinch. You never listened either, but it helps to hear it. Historians once uncovered blueprints of labyrinthine homes with no central floor plan. Every renovation dictated by dreams, by grief, or by whatever name had recently been forgotten. These homes weren't designed, they grew, layer by layer, person by person, until they resembled not structures, but selves. You walk back to the kitchen. The tea is cold, but it still tastes like the house. You sip it slowly. Let it settle under your tongue like a word you once loved. From the hallway, there's a soft sound. Running. No. Stumbling. You hear the mirrors whisper as they pass. Then once, they've reached the end, or a version of it. You feel the weight shift in the air again. The house adjusts. Another room lights up in the mirror's map. The name appears slowly, uncertainly, then stabilizes. Not Marrow. Not yet. A placeholder. Something generic and safe. You smile. That was you once. You go to the attic. The ladder lowers itself before you reach it. That never happened for you, but you've earned its trust now. The attic feels warmer, more familiar. You reach the cubby marked Marrow. A second slip of paper has appeared, this one blank. You pick up the quill beside it. Without thinking, you write, witnessed, received, remembered. The ink seeps into the page like it's being devoured. A soft glow flickers around the edges, and just before it fades, your handwriting vanishes, absorbed, like it's never needed to exist on paper at all. The attic is quieter now. Not silent, just settled, as if the wood itself is breathing slower. As if the house is no longer waiting, but watching. Content. You descend the ladder, careful not to touch the rungs too fast. They still remember your weight. They don't like to be surprised. Back in the hallway, something's changed again. You count the doors out of habit. 14. There were 11 yesterday. But you don't feel alarmed. It's more like recognizing new wrinkles on your own face. Proof that something is still living, still evolving. Each door hums faintly as you pass. None open. Not for you. Not anymore. You're not the one arriving now. You're part of the infrastructure. You're the hum in the walls. In the kitchen, the tenant's teacup is gone, but the copper key remains. You turn it over in your palm. Feel the smooth groove where your thumb used to rest. A new groove has begun to wear in next to it. Shallower. Tentative. Like a signature still practicing its curve. You place the key in the drawer beneath the stove. It clicks softly shut. Just like always. That night you don't sleep. You sit in the hallway, cross-legged, facing the mirror. Your reflection smiles gently. It isn't you, but it's close. Close enough to remember what your voice used to sound like when you were telling stories out loud, when you were still someone else. You watch the reflection raise its hand. You don't move, but the glass fogs gently. One word. Ready. Historians rarely write about the moment of transformation, only the results. They describe relics. Diaries' worn footprints, the shape of chairs by candlelight. But the becoming, that quiet click inside a person when their name slides into a different lock, that's always been too subtle to document. Until now. You stand. The mirrors behind you brighten. You walk to the front door. It's dusk again. Always dusk now. Not quite sunset, not quite twilight. The sky a constant color of held breath. You open the door slowly. No creak. Just warmth. And waiting. The street outside is empty, but the fog is returning. That familiar rolling curl, thick at the ankles, soft at the crown. You know what it means. You're getting a new arrival. Another one who thinks they found a cheap rental with creaky floors and a charming attic. You straighten the rug by the door. You light the candle by the mirror. You hum the first few notes of the house's favorite song. And just as the fog parts, you see a figure, hesitant, squinting at the front porch, key in hand. You smile, not for them, for the house. It loves this part. You open the door before they knock. Their face shifts through surprise, then confusion, then that small flash of fear they'll later pretend wasn't real. You offer the copper key. They reach for it, with the wrong hand. You gently guide them. The house prefers the left. They blink. And just before they cross the threshold, you whisper, "Remember your name." The house already does. They enter, not like someone coming home, but like someone trying to prove they aren't afraid of being alone. You remember that too. The small squared shoulders, the overly casual glance around, the polite smile masking that flicker of unease when the door clicks shut behind them. The sound the door makes is always the same, like a lock remembering its purpose. You offer no tour. That's not how it works. Instead, you move to the hallway and wait. They'll follow. The fourth door waits ajar, just enough to suggest invitation, never enough to feel forced. They glance toward it, but don't step forward. Yet. Instead, they ask, "Did you hear that?" You nod. You always do. It's never the same sound. For you, it was humming. For them, it might be breathing, whispering. wood sighing under weight that shouldn't be there. They look at you again, wary now. Has the house always been like this? You smile. Only when someone's home. That's the truth. The house is still empty, silent when no one claims it. But the moment someone opens that copper lock, it wakes up, and it listens. You leave them at the door. That part must be done alone. You return to the kitchen. There's another teacup on the counter now. New porcelain. Not yours. Already filled. Steam curls in the shape of a question mark. But you don't answer it. You don't have to. The house knows what kind of tea each version of you prefers. You drink. It's bitter today, but comforting. A root flavor. Something deep. Like memory mulled with smoke. You hear the door open down the hallway, then close again, softly. Another step has begun. Another self unzipping like a molted skin in the dark. You sigh, not from sadness, from recognition. Historians argue about recursion in structures. Buildings with timelines folded into their foundations. Staircases that don't obey physics. Names that echo longer than their speakers. But the idea that a person can become part of a place, that they can turn into the narrative architecture of a memory, that's still controversial. It won't be for long. Later you find yourself in the attic, not because you chose to go, but because the ladder extended itself again. The cubby marked marrow is gone. In its place is a brass plate, etched with Caretaker 12. You touch it, feel your pulse fall into rhythm with the wood around you. In the cubby sits a small sealed envelope. No writing, just wax, pressed with your thumbprint. You don't open it. It's not for you. It's for the next one. The one who asks the right question. The one who stays long enough to hear the mirrors sing. You smile and tuck the envelope deeper into the cubby, out of sight, safe, down. Stairs you hear footsteps, not the new tenant, someone heavier, slower, different. You go to the window. It's foggy again, but through the mist you see another figure, older, wearing a coat that looks like it's made of stitched-together maps. They hold a lantern. And in the glass of the lantern, a single flame shaped like a letter. You can't read it yet, but you know what it means. It's time for another name to arrive, not to be forgotten, but to be remembered correctly. The lantern glows brighter as the figure steps onto the porch. You watch from the window, not moving, not blinking. The flame within the lantern doesn't flicker. It pulses, a steady rhythm. Like a heartbeat or a knock you haven't heard yet. The coat the figure wears rustles faintly like parchment rubbing against parchment, and the air around them smells suddenly sharply of ink. You know what they are. Not a tenant, not a guide. A recorder, a collector of closures. The house has summoned them before, but never while you were caretaker. This time they've come for you. You opened the door. The porch boards groan in a key you've never heard before, like a chord that had been held too long, finally resolving. The figure doesn't speak, but you do. I've kept it well. They nod. The lantern swings gently once. The flame inside dims, flares, then dims again. You understand. It's time. You step aside, invite them in. They walk with a slow confidence, lantern held slightly ahead, casting stretched golden shapes that don't quite match the furniture around them. The hallway narrows as they pass, adjusting to their presence. Mirrors ripple. Walls sigh. And when they reach the sitting room, they pause. You follow. The chair is empty. Your chair. It has no dust on it. No imprint. It's ready. So are you. Historians once debated whether names could be spent like coins, used too often, worn smooth, until their meaning dissolved. But the house never wastes. It repurposes, recycles. You weren't lost when you gave up your name. You were reassigned. You became the framework, the index, the memory beneath the memory. You sit. The lantern is placed before you. The recorder lifts their hand, and from the folds of their coat, they remove a page, faded, but with one word written clear in red ink, Caretaker 13. You feel a pull at the edges of your vision. The room blurs. You are being filed, cataloged, returned to the archive of lives that shaped this place. But you are not afraid. You are being remembered. The recorder vanishes like smoke caught in reverse, and all that remains is the lantern, still warm, still humming softly. You lift it, and behind you the mirrors begin to clear. You see all the versions of yourself, all the names you tried on, all the faces you wore like weather. You bow your head slightly. Not goodbye, not regret, just acknowledgement. The hallway opens one final time, and the fourth door leads not to a room, not to a staircase, but to dusk, endless golden dusk, where no keys are needed and no names are spoken aloud. Just a long exhale of a house that now knows your name and remembers it forever. Word count 1-1. Wind down. Wind down 300 words. Your breath slows now. The house is quiet again. No footsteps. No new arrivals. No reflections waiting behind glass. Only the gentle creak of old floorboards stretching, settling into sleep. The mirrors soften to silver. The walls, no longer watching, seem to lean just a little closer to each other, as if whispering lullabies only they can understand. Outside, the fog rolls low, not menacing, not barenga, just wrapping the world in quiet, the way a blanket drapes over your shoulders when the night turns cool. In this moment, everything is still. No doors are opening. No names are being spoken. Just you, resting in a house that finally feels like it isn't asking anything of you. Not secrets, not memories, not fear, just stillness. You're safe now, not because nothing will ever come again, but because you know the rules. You've walked the halls, you've seen behind the mirrors, and now the house knows you too. So close your eyes, let the hum in your bones match the quiet music of the walls. Let the dust settle, let the tea cool. You are no longer being followed, no longer being rewritten. You are part of the story now, and stories once finished get to sleep. Good night.